I hope you guys are doing well. Yeah, I've been doing well as well. Well. And I hope you guys are doing good. I've been doing my thing, you guys. As we mentioned before, Sunday was the new moon. And the energy of this moon is something else. And a lot of people that I know personally, they're a little like, what? Because of course you guys know I'm currently energetically, socially distancing myself from people. If it's not about anything that's elevating or beneficial in a sense of what my goals are, I'm keeping my distance. Verbally, I think I'm okay with that. But in person, being in that energetic field, no, thank you. And so anyway, you guys, I hope you guys are doing good. I want to stop by here very quickly because, of course, someone asked me something. And I was like, you know what? Why not? Why not? Why not? Let me address this. Let me talk about some things because, of course, and I say this, y'all, in any way, shape, or form, do I not take on the title of being the spokesperson for any community outside of who I am and what I represent. I think that collectively, as a whole, and I might be one and the same, I think we got to do better as people, people on this planet, because the lack of knowledge or the ignorance that spew out of some people's mouth, it amazes me. And then even on a larger scale, on a broader scale, seeing how people are affected by this ignorance. And so a question that I received in my inbox was, do I think that HIV, house in Virginia, that's what we're going to address it as, do I think that is a disease, like a curse from God, that was given to, the LGBT community? Because, of course, people say this, and there's people who are doctors or specialists in that area, yet they're like energetic experts, I guess. I don't know. They are saying that. And allegedly they provided proof, right? And this is public platforms. They've provided proof that, it is a gay disease and only a gay disease. And yes, some people are affected by it, but the ones who tend to contract this virus have sex with other men. And more and more. Now, let's get into this. Everybody's affected by that disease, right? And baby, hold on. The reason why gay people, in particularly men, and they call it, I believe, SMS, men on men sex, the reason why they're more at risk of contracting that virus is because the anal tissue, the rectal tissue, the rectum, that tissue is very delicate. It's more delicate than vaginal tissue. So what puts you at risk of contracting that disease, what puts you at risk of contacting that, we're going to say condition, is, of course, affected bodily fluids, vaginal fluids, semen, and saliva. But once again, it is not a gay-only disease. The tissue of the vagina is delicate, but it's not as delicate as the rectum, so it's not prone to tores, tearing, damages, or any of that. In fact, I won't get too deep into that because I don't know what era that's going to go for people. But that is why man-on-man sex is more risky as far as getting that and sharing that. Like I said, it's quite sad that a lot of people are out here in this world, and they're not aware, they're not educating themselves on what this is. And even going into the spiritual aspect of it being a rectal or rectum type of energy, and only that, it's like, well, duh, because that is a very It's like the lining of your mouth, right? It's a very delicate. How would I say this? Your anal tissue is just like the lips on your face. It's very delicate, it's very soft, it's very fragile, right? And so you have to treat it with care. And unfortunately, people don't. Unfortunately, people, like I said, I don't want to get too deep into that because I don't know what area that's going to go for people. But that's why. It's nothing to do with a curse from God. It's nothing to do with, it's only from man and men get it. And if you're a woman and you get it, it's because your man was gay. That's not that. A lot of people actually contract it from other things, including drug usage and all that stuff. And if, like I said, if you are someone who reads, you will know this. Unfortunately, like I said, we are in a day and age where people use social media and platforms where people just can talk and just say whatever the hell they want to say. And people take that as truth, right? They saw it and they're like, it has to be true because this person come off as a very articulate person. It's someone I trust. But like I said, it's always important to do your own research. It's always important to educate yourself on different things because I think that, there's just a lot with a lot. So definitely, it's not, like I said, not only men on men get that, not only people that LGBT get that. That is something that, of course, certain groups put upon and made it as a stereotype. And of course, people have ran with that stereotype. And there's a lot of stereotypes out there, right, that we just choose not to acknowledge, right? But when it doesn't pertain to us, we're going to believe these, stereotypes. So we're going to, become, racist or, use certain slurs for these people, et cetera, et cetera. Now, I do want to mention, right, because of course, that is, and I want to say this as well, y'all, because I'm very, and of course, the person who emailed me this, they're going to watch this. And so I'm very good. Okay. And the title of this video, I called it a reading session with the love, because you guys, when I come across, and if I have anything to say to anybody or any group of people, it's not because I'm jealous. It's not because I'm hateful. It's not because I don't care. I will say something. I will waste my energy on that because I do care. And I see things that I honestly, not say feel like could improve, but I see potential in people. And I'm going to speak about it because I want them to kind of, see that, plant that seed and they see, oh, this is what it is and blah, 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 blah. And so either way, I have a good idea of who is this person because something came across my feed. And I feel like this is spirit, right? Spirit always suggests things when people bring up something. Like someone will email and they'll say, can you talk about, let's say, the indigenous tribe of China, right? The indigenous people of China. And I'll say, okay, I'll talk about that and give the spiritual, background and stuff on that. And then a day later or 2 days later, even sometimes the same day, YouTube or Google will show something about the indigenous people of China. And I'm like, what the fuck? And so with this, and I said intelligent, I believe I know who the hell this person is talking about. And of course, I was going to respond back to them and be like, I know you're not, bringing up my people that I don't really fuck with like that. But I'm glad they did, because this gives me an opportunity to have a educational moment with this individual that I think represent, I would say, a group of people that are not really understood, a group of people that are disrespected. And of course, the aggression that these groups or this group of people receive from other people and other groups, they take it out on the wrong people. And just so happen the energy that they take it out on, or the people that take it out on in this moment, is of course the LGBT community, from the trans people to the feminine man to the masculine woman, et cetera, et cetera. And so the idea that this will be coming from a woman of color, and a woman of color that is not considered well off, as they would say, upper echelon, it's even more, disturbing to me. Even going into a woman of color who is not married, a woman of color who have possibly had children out of wedlock. It's a lot with a lot. And, the inside looking out, the outside looking in, I'm just like, girl, for you to sit here and think about that HIV is only a gay thing, or it's a rectal thing, or it's rectal energy, and it's not a vaginal thing. Clearly, you're not educated on medicine. Clearly, you're not educated on what HIV is. And it's unfortunate because a lot of people who are victims of this virus just so happen are people of color. And in fact, they're women of color. And so the idea that you are part of a group that's affected by that, and maybe this is narcissism or this is spiritual, something else going on. The fact that you're a part of that and you're not educating yourself in that, it's like, damn. And then on the outside looking in, the inside looking out, it's like, so we know why a lot of you don't really care for the LGBT community. Why a certain group of people are only good for procreation, but they don't want to, no one wants to put a ring on it. And like I said, it becomes very clear to me because of the intelligence on every other person, the intelligence on other people's lifestyles, the intelligence on other people's experiences, yet they don't have it on their own. And so I say this once again from love, because baby, if you can speak proudly and loudly and respectfully or disrespectfully on a group of people that you're in any way, shape, or form connected to, and in fact, in my honest opinion, you just have a little hate for them for whatever reason. Maybe your man was caught with another man. I don't know. Maybe your man got caught with panties on. I don't know. But to say that people are in a energy of being ignorant or sensitive or whatever it is along those lines, it's like, girl. And then I think along the same lines, they mentioned something about genetic weaknesses. And to me, and I'm just going to take it back, not too far back, a couple of 100 years ago. Allegedly, there was a group of people that was, treated like sheep, right? And we're going to say sheep because, of course, I don't want to get too graphic or too, traumatizing. And they had a shepherd. And the shepherd actually used Bible scripture stuff to keep these sheep in check. But the shepherd did whatever the hell he wanted to do or whatever the hell they wanted to do to these people. And they spewed certain things onto these people that kept them not only weak mentally, but also weak physically and also weak emotionally. And so outside of that, because of course, if we had to go into people being in a wild chasing after sheeps and goats and fighting off lions and gorillas, these people had to be in shape. They had to be strong. They had to have had the body, or would I say the power and the strength and also the mental agility to fight these wild animals. When you got taken over by these shepherds, they purposefully, intentionally made you weak to where you cannot outrun them. They intentionally gave you bad parts of the body that did not provide your body nutrition. It did not give your body nutrients. And so the idea that you would sit here in front of a platform of people and you would speak as if you're this doctor, you're this PhD holder, and say, AIDS is an LGBT thing. It's an anal thing. You get it through anal sex only. That's same that we could talk about, or we could say about being someone who's overweight. Being overweight is not godly. Even going into a genetic weakness, that's genetic weak, being overweight. Being in a lineage or having a line of people who overconsume food, that's also considered a DNA weakness. People look for in nature the fittest, the youngest, the most in shape individual. They're not looking for sloppy, bad built ass people. And there's no shade with that, to procreate. People, once again, like I said, I'm reading with love because this individual always have something to say about the LGBT. If it's this person, I really do think it's this person they're talking about. They always have something to say about the LGBT people. But I'm just like, girl, they think the same thing about you and what you represent. They think you also is weaker than. They also don't see you as an equal to. And even going into, like I said, genetic weaknesses and stuff, because this person likes to speak about that. you will be considered a genetically weak person. Because of course, being overweight, of course, there could be thyroid issues there, which of course deals with trauma and unresolved, experiences, and that gets stored within the body. And if you don't, know about any of that, Tasha K broke it down very good for people just the other day. Okay, about how that's affected. Going into also being overweight, of course, is overeating, lack of sleep, going into consuming more calories than you're burning. So you're having like a sedentary lifestyle. So maybe if you wasn't so worried about what the LGBT is doing, how much anal play they get, how much oral play they get, if they fucking and sucking, if they sex change, if they get on titties, if they get their titties done, maybe if you spent more time on you and not having a sedentary lifestyle, not just be over consuming calories and over consume whatever the hell, whatever you got going on, or better yet, maybe even work on the trauma that you've had, maybe from your baby fathers, maybe from your mama and daddy. I don't know what that is, and I really don't care to even tap into that. But once again, on a greater scale, and what you do and how you do it, people watch, and when you think they're not watching, they're really watching. And so thinking about how you are, and now that you probably even care because you probably don't care about how you're seen, and maybe that's what the real issue is that you're undesirable. The only ones that would want you would be a fetish, someone who has a fetish for a woman who has a spirit of gluttony over her. Because they also mentioned that they like to speak about spirits and deities over people that's been uprooted. And so maybe there's a spirit of gluttony, a demonic energy, because that's another thing too. If the body is a temple, oh, come on in here. If the body is a temple of a higher power, then the body must be kept clean in all ways and all day. And it's not just about being vaginally and anally and penally clean and having your mouth and stuff clean, brush your teeth, floss, all that. It's not just about that. It's also about what you put into the body. So if you're still eating pig feet, if you're still sucking on chitterlings, if you're still eating pig ground up as sausages, you still sucking on chicken feet and all this other good shit that you love sucking on, maybe even eating donuts, maybe eating hydrogenated castor oil, whatever you're consuming, that is also demonic. That is also lower vibrational. That is also considered genetic weakness, because people who have genetic strengths, people that are genetically strong, they don't crave that. They have the ability to say, instead of me grabbing hydrogenated palm oil, palm kernel oil, let me grab me some butter. Instead of me chowing down some motherfucking donuts and Twinkies, let me go ahead and grab me a cocoa and put some chia seeds together, let it soak in water, make me some whipped cocoa mousse. That's a genetically strong person. The idea that somebody who was mentally, remedial, whatever she said, special needs, she said something in the video the other day, special needs and remedial. Like, girl, what? Have you lost your motherfucking mind? So you think you better than the remedial people? You think you better than on a caste system? You're better than those who are remedial? You think that what they say, the average white male, you think he's looking at you and he's saying, oh my God, if we have to pick and choose between a remedial individual, regardless of their race, and this person, you're saying they will pick you over them? Girl, bye. I think not. I think not, honey. If you think that you are not genetically weak based off of what you present yourself as, especially the fucking rhetoric that come out that motherfucking mouth, baby, you're in for a rude awakening. You're in for a rude awakening. I want to leave off with that. Before we decide to speak on other people, and we want to, because I think that's what it is. So I think people just have so much to say, right? And they want to give out so much information. I think that is great. And I even mentioned this before in a video that I did, and maybe that's why this person reached out to me, because I said this like 3 videos ago, where I'm like, if people were so concerned with the affairs and the freedom and the greatness of Black people, they will be doing everything in their power to elevate their Black people. They will be doing everything in their power to elevate, to teach, to enrich their Black people. They will not spend their free time what would they say? What did this? Oh my God! Someone said a quote, and I think in this moment I can't think who said it, but they said, "Don't invite me to a peace, anti-war rally. Invite me into a pro-peace rally." Right? Don't invite me to an anti anything. Invite me to a pro something. That's how I feel with that. If I'm really here to enlighten you and to elevate you and to take you to a next level, whatever that means for you, I'm going to do everything that I can to always spew that onto you. I'm not going to take a minute to step back and say, and for those who don't like the pagans, and for those who don't like the witches, and for those who don't like the spiritually inclined people, screw you and this too, and just like, girl. Like speaking about them being dumb and ignorant, like we all have our own purpose. And like I said, unless you are obsessed with these people, which I think a lot of people are obsessed with LGBT people, I think that a lot of people are fascinated by the LGBT people. I think a lot of people are, they can't wrap their mind around why a man would want to be with another man. They can't wrap their mind around why another woman would want to be with a woman. They can't wrap their mind even more so about why a man would want to change his gender and sex. And so it's just a lot of vaccinations and sensations and arousinations. And there's just a lot that be going on. And so I can kind of see it from that angle to where it's like, I got to talk about it. And every time I get a chance, I got to let these people know that you ain't shit. And I'm like, it also goes to maybe that's what people told you. Maybe that's what your parents told you. Maybe that's what and that's nothing too. Psychologists and people who deal with, family, what they call it, the family structure and how households are dealt with and stuff. They actually have new studies that have come out, and they talk about how, everything that you project into the world, or everything that you see in the world, your perception are these things based on what happened within your household. And even going into more so, if the daughter seeing the father disrespect her mother, she would start to doubt her own self and her own ability to be a woman, regardless of how he's telling her, "Oh, you're a good one. You're going to be a good girl," and blah 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 blah. Because they be, what they were talking about, girl, the daddy daughter dance and stuff, and this is a good thing. It's like, but the daughter seeing the father interact with the mother is just as important, if not more important, than how the father treats that daughter, because the daughter relates to the mother, and when the mother, and that even goes deeper to a lot of these women out here, even the spiritual people. This is why they're so fucked up. This is why they get on YouTube and they get on these other platforms and they're fucked up as stewardess, because they come from a fucked up ass household. They come from a household where the mama didn't like them. They come from the household where their mama treated them like an enemy and not a daughter. They come from a household where even the mom and the father didn't like each other. And the father came in sometimes and called her a hoe or a wench, and she was only 12 years old. And so it makes sense to me why a lot of people of a particular experience and social background would think, act, and speak the way they do. And so, like I said, I come from a space of love. I speak about things. I speak about educating. I read people in a way of castigation, because I want you to step back and think about how you're coming off. I want you to step back and think about, just so maybe, like, you may see things this way, but that's not how we all see it. You're coming off as if you're great at it. And maybe that's another thing too. We talked about Claude Anderson before. Never really was a fan of people like that. No tea, no shade. We talked about it before. I don't know that man personally. Was never a fan of that person, because Claude Anderson had a mission years ago where he said that Black folks in America should be concerned about gay people, immigrants, and other people, because allegedly these people have better rights and freedom than they do. And I'm thinking to myself, like, I don't know if I believe that. I don't know if I can believe that. I think you can freely marry yourself as a marry whoever you want to marry as a Black person. I think depending on how you move and who you know. And that'd be another thing too, where I'd be like, if you're incompetent and you're not intelligent enough to build bridges with people to get where you need to get to, just say that. Don't use that as, oh, they're not fucking with me because I'm gay or I'm Black or I'm trans or I'm this or I'm that. Just say that you are how you are, you feel how you feel, and that's why things don't work out. Even as a little segue into this, y'all, because this goes hand in hand, a lot of people keep talking about this Destiny Swamp and stuff, right? And I watched a video, I told y'all when I first came across this on YouTube last year, the year before that, where this person was like this content creator. And allegedly, there was this big content creator, and they were like doing tours and all this other good stuff. And allegedly, they hired an assistant, and this assistant basically worked for them. And then, as the assistant became more on the clock and more hands on, and this is what they were saying, they noticed that they started to get really sick. And in the process of getting really sick, they noticed that their business started to decline. And while the business started to decline, this assistant started her own business. She started growing. And allegedly, she's now living out the dream of this content creator. And of course, I'm looking at it as this perspective of, well, this is why you don't share all your business with everybody, including your assistants. This is why you hire them to work for you, but you still don't give them the gameplay. Assistants, business partners, and co-founders are not all on the same level. Okay. And so it's okay to just say, I fucked up, you guys, because I shared my game plan with my assistant, because we all know that assistants are also apprentices. We know that assistants work in a profession with people that they want to ultimately be in. They want to be in that career. They want to be in that field. And so they're going to come under you as an assistant to learn your ways, to learn how you work so they can take it from you. We know this. This is common sense. But because you're not intelligent enough, because you're not driven enough, because you really don't care enough, and of course, we all like to play this blame game. It's the white man, it's the homosexual, it's the trannies, it's this, it's that, why I'm not where I'm at. It's easier to say, they destiny swamped with me versus saying I just wasn't that driven. Versus saying I got sick because I didn't take no time off. I woke up working, I went to bed working, I worked 24 hours a day, I would take a cat nap, I was up drinking my coffee, and that's it. And that's okay. But like I said, people have a fear of saying, I don't know. People have a fear of coming off and saying and being humble and saying, I don't know everything. I don't know it all. But instead, like I said, they look for other ways to say, hey, this is a destiny star. Oh, this is a curse. This is that. And I always said, and I will continue to say, if these people really have this ability and they believe in this, because what's good for the goose is good for the gander. If you believe that somebody could destiny swap with you, that means you could destiny swap with someone else. Why not meet Chris Brown and do a fan greet and rub elbows with Chris Brown so you could become an artist like him? Why not go to the bank and rub hands and shake hands with the bank tellers? Because, girl, they be like personal. I don't know about y'all, but my bank tellers, girl, they be wanting a hug. Or you, how you doing? They come on in here. Like, girl, they act like we family and shit. So why not touch on them so you can get this loan and this bailout? And so that way you get this money up and shit, if that's the case. But we know that's not the case. And so, like I said, we have to have this, and there's something with that too. I don't know exactly what that would be right now in this moment, because of course, I'm in this energy of wanting to, educate and get on in and, do what I'm, let a bitch get 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. But all I'm saying is step back. It's okay to say, hey, it didn't work out. Hey, I don't think no one destiny swamped with me. I just think that I personally shared too much information. I shared too much ideas. I talked too much about what I wanted to do. Everybody who's around you ain't going to be there with you in the finish line. And that's okay. And so going back into that and going back to all this stuff, like I said, it's okay not to know everything. It's okay to feel insecure or inferior, or maybe, why are all these men gay? I don't know. Maybe, these people wanted to fuck on a man and they found out he wasn't into vagina or anything that looked like vagina. And so made him upset, because a lot of these gay men do be looking better than people, baby daddies and shit. And, it is what it is. So I don't know. Maybe that's what it's, I do know what I'm saying. It could be a lot of stuff. And so that's where it's at. That's where I'm at with that. If we're going to talk about genetic weaknesses, and we're going to talk about, inferior people, then let's talk about looks. Let's talk about, strengths. Let's talk about in nature, because a lot of people want to be scientific, in nature. For procreation, we go for the most attractive, the most in shape individuals. And baby, if you're not that attractive and you're not that much in shape, you're not a top pick. And so I wouldn't be. And I tell y'all this, I don't think I'm the cutest thing out there. I don't think I'm the sexiest thing. I don't think I'm the smartest thing. So I would never sit here and come out my mouth, oh, I'm smarter than this bitch, or I look better than, or come across as if I'm that girl. Okay. Because baby, I know I'm not, right? I know the truth and I can accept the truth. But it's like, girl, if I'm gonna sit here, I'm gonna talk about people, place and things, and make it seem like I'm better than, I'm gonna look the part. And I would say that too. It's never the girls that are really, really pretty that have bad shit said by people and call people ugly. It's never the girls that are like top pick or look like the top pick or top pick for the guys that gotta come out and say, F you remedial people because you're a weaker link, or F you trannies, or blah blah. It's never that. It's always the ones who want to screw it, that wants to be it, and or that know they're not a hot commodity and they're not on that level and they're not first choice on a lot of stuff. They got something to say. Well, I'm just like, girl, what's really going on? But we know what it is. We know that it's a cycle. We know that, being in survival mode will keep you at a lower level in the caste system. And we know that even going on for a long term, you will set a certain, mindset. And we know that mindset overall affects your experiences. And so that's where it's at with that. We know that's why certain groups of people don't excel. They will always be where they're at, regardless of what they do, regardless of how many of them does witchcrafts, regardless of how many of them sell their souls, regardless of how many of them cheat, lie, steal, think they're going to have affairs with people in offices stuff, and they're going to get, have a baby that's going to, my baby got a chance. They're never going to get there because the mind ain't right. The mind is fucked up. The mind is slipped out. The mind is not in the correct element. And so that's where, like I said, I'm gonna leave that. And respectfully, and it is what it is. And if someone or something was hit by any statement that I said, and they're upset at me for saying it, then baby, you're one of those people that's not living in your truth. You're in denial. Like I said, I have my reality, I have my thoughts, I have my perception on things, but I'll never come out and say, this is what it is the whole truth and nothing but the truth. From a spiritual perspective, I do feel like energy has the right to be molded into whatever the hell I want to be molded into. Just like water, it will flow freely. That's how energy is. Regardless of how the energy is capped, regardless of how the energy is molded, the energy is still motherfucking energy. The bottom line, regardless of how the energy decided to come into this plane, in this reality, when it is all said and done, baby, and that's less than 115 years, and that's not a long time, babe, that energy will return back to its source. And it's not going to matter if it was black, white, fat, gay, skinny, anally, vaginally. It was not going to matter if it had the sauce or didn't have the sauce. Because one day, bitch, you're going to go too. And one day, your death may be diabetes. Your death may be amputation of your left leg, your right leg. It may be going blind because you got diabetes, type 2 diabetes, while other people are getting it from HIV. And like I said, it is what it is. We all have to go out. So to sit in a place and be so convicted and be so direct and to say, hey, this is what it is. And I don't got to worry about it because that's not my life. That's fine. But you still are battling, babe. You still got to struggle. And you got to pick your struggle, babe. Would you rather struggle being gay or would you rather struggle being overweight? And some people got to struggle with both, being gay and being overweight. And, that's their business. But I'm just saying, you think your struggle as an overweight person is better than people struggle with being gay? Like, that doesn't make sense. You think your struggle being an overweight black woman that's not top pick is better than a gay man who has the sauce or who has the virus? Like, wait, what? Like, girl, what reality are these people living in? And then also, please send the memo to the man that's in office so he can correct that and he can say, you guys, everybody have an upper hand. You could be overweight, you could be unattractive, you got an overhand over the LGBT. Pass that memo on over to your Uncle Don. Go ahead and pass that memo over there. Okay. And that's it. That's it, honey. And so you guys, hope you guys had a great new moon. Like I said, we did our thing. We're doing our thing. Right now, girl, I have my in-person people. There was only one of you that signed up for it on the internet. And I'm okay with that. It is what it is. We put things out. Once again, if you join on, you do. If you don't join on, you don't join on. And, of course, like I said, it's never any hard feelings about anything. And, we go where we go. We stay where we stay. We leave when we leave. And, it is what it is, girl. You have the free will. We all have the free will. And so that's pretty much it, honey. I'm going to finish doing what I'm doing. I'm organizing my little corner here, honey. I have this container with all these incense and candles, and I was like, baby, let me get this. Let me get this together, girl. I had oregano in there. I had one of my motherfucking cinnamon bags, fucking tore, so it's cinnamon all in there. I was like, yeah, baby, let me get this together before I take my ass to bed. And so that's it, y'all. Hope y'all, like I say, y'all had a good moon. Hope y'all excited for the full moon on the first. Could y'all believe January is already almost over? Could y'all believe that, honey? It has not flew by for me. It felt like just, honestly, it felt like time is working the way it should be working right now. It doesn't feel like it's going too fast or it's going too slow. It seemed like everything is going the way that it should go. Okay. And so, like I said, that's it, honey. Of course, twospiritmessage.blogspot.com, 2spirit8message@gmail.com. And of course, y'all, I want to say that too. Y'all, now, of course, shout out to Dropbox. I send the videos over through Dropbox now, y'all. We used to do it on YouTube and stuff, but YouTube, they'll make sure y'all get the videos all the time. And girl, we sitting there fighting with the video links and stuff. And so I send the videos out through Dropbox. And the way Dropbox let me know when y'all read or y'all watch the videos and stuff, y'all, that's why I love it. But of course, I did send some videos out to, some of you who signed up for that Did It We Did. And of course, give me feedback. Tell me what you think. Tell me, if you have any questions, if you're ready for the next tea, the next session, the next ports, and I'll send it over. Okay. And so, yes, y'all, that's it, honey. Anyway, until the next time, y'all, bye for now. I do have something I'm going to be, I always say that, huh? It's like I say I'm coming out with something, y'all, and then I, end up getting caught up in my work and stuff, and I'm just like, ooh, girl, I forgot I gotta get on YouTube. I gotta do this. I gotta do that. We're just gonna say this. There's a new way of us doing things. The live stuff I think is cute, but I think what I'm gonna be doing, I think it's gonna be a little cuter. And I think that's how you're gonna see what we're gonna be doing, guys. You're gonna see, honey. You're gonna see. Anyway, bye for now. Love and light. And of course, I will see y'all again soon. Bye.